This gentleman was a guest on our program several years ago when the Heal the Hood Foundation became well known, or known to us at least. Beamon has joined us again, and we had him booked last week before the events of this ugly weekend that nobody can stop talking about. It's everywhere. Good to see you again, my friend, and thank you for coming to see us today.
Well, thank you guys for having me. Good to see you
And I
guys.
know that you're up to your eyeballs and stuff with various things. Explain to people first about the Heal the Hood Foundation, what the hood in Heal the Hood means, and give us a little bit of background.
I really do like to do a disclaimer, most definitely, about Heal the Hood, because when people hear those terms, we always see a lot of faces and nose turn up. But when you look at the word hood, it's the suffixes at the end of words like brotherhood, fatherhood, neighborhood, sisterhood, priesthood.
Right.
Everybody literally has a hood, and so what we do is that we try to impact those social groups that are attached to that word, because there's so much going on. But we use media science to be able to do that.
So, what you do specifically is spend your time, and how many guys are involved in this foundation?
Wow. Right now, we've grown, so it's about like 16 of us now.
Okay.
This
And so it's all guys like yourself who came from backgrounds that, let's say, were not ideal,
Yeah,
and who chose a different path in life than doing something dumb and crazy.
exactly. We have guys and girls.
Okay, so
It's
you
working.
spend a lot of your time. Now, there was this youth violence forum last week with Mayor Horton. What do you think that these things accomplish? Is this a lot of stuff, and I don't mean to be a cynic, but I have a hard time not being. Is this stuff done for TV cameras, or is it done with any impact?
I think it's kind of like double. It's double edged.
Yeah.
The reason why I say that is because when you have a lot of meetings like this, and I'm one that's not a meeting person. I don't like going to a lot of meetings. I'm more
I'm with you,
about
brother.
actions.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of us know what the solutions are,
Right.
and so I think that many times either we should be calling the media and to say that this is what we're getting ready to do, to make a big announcement so that we can do this as a group of people. You can either do it that way, or it can be about the media side, when you have people that's coming into town to survey what your youth programs are doing,
Mhm.
and all of a sudden, poof,
Yeah.
here we go. And so it can be double edged. So it depends, because it's very hard sometimes to tell what the intentions of people's hearts are now.
Yes, it really is, and that is well said. Yeah, there's a national this thing today with Miss Wyrick and Mayor Luttrell and Sheriff Oldham and so on. This national forum on youth violence. This is a thing out of the White House that is aimed at Memphis, Boston, Chicago, Detroit, and others, and so people are quite aware of the problems. And then we sit and watch what happened over the weekend, and it just breaks your heart and makes you scared for our kids. And what the heck has happened? I don't know what the answer is, and people like you are trying to reach these people, these kids, but it's really unsettling. So, specifically, what do you guys do? You're going into schools, into churches, and
Yeah.
doing what?
We have a lot of program. I think a lot of people, and see, that's one thing. We have a lot of programs in the city of Memphis. We have a lot of churches, over 4,000. But we still keep coming up somewhere on the radar as one of the most dangerous cities, literally in America. And the approach that we really use is that, because you see a lot of, for me, is I see the programming and what's happening to get youth to be so destructive. You have to look at the destruction of a city, first of all, because the last time I was here, I remember talking about how we don't have Liberty Land anymore, and there's so many things that we've taken away. And at the top of that leadership, someone had to know that these things would contribute to the problems that we're facing right now. So it's like seeds were planted years ago for the plants of destruction to actually start coming up now. So when you look at what we do as a foundation, we're literally trying to go right back into the same syringes that poison these kids, and we're trying to rehabilitate them before it's too late. So we use media science, because you look at a lot of these radio stations now, and you look at the behavior. I'm a real huge. I'm beginning to become an enemy of social media now, because you look at these kids that are taking these cell phones and they're getting all this video footage, and they're putting it up. And when what happens is that they get all these likes and they become famous because they're putting up stupid things. And you see other kids that are looking at this, and I feel like if the government can tap in on your cell phone line and listen to your phone conversations, they can do something about this media pirating that's going on with these kids that are being so destructive. So our programming is basically designed to go in and start restructuring thinking from tours. We have to do that. We use the music influence. We're writing comic books. We're doing a whole lot of stuff that kids can start rethinking and retooling their thoughts. And so we're penetrating hearts with our program, and it's a lot of programming that we're doing.
Because you're going up against, obviously your enemy is the gangs that are trying to recruit these kids at as young as an age as possible. I don't know whether you've seen the special that was on Nat Geo called Memphis Mayhem, that started off over on Clementine by Graceland.
Not too far from where I stay.
And showed dudes in gas masks with AK-47s talking about how they ran this neighborhood, and screw these people and the heck with those guys, and this was all about them and moving dope. And since they can't move cocaine anymore, since Mr. Pettis went off to jail for a long, long time, now heroin has taken over the streets, and it's getting to be so available and so prevalent, as kids are trying it at such a young age. The odds are stacked against you.
Exactly. And I look at, where do they get these ideals and thoughts? I was at a Target.
Social media, like you just said.
I was at a Target one time during Christmas time, and this lady was buying a Grand Theft Auto. And the clerk asked her, she said, ma'am, I just want to know, who you getting this game for? And the lady got a serious attitude, and she says, none of your business, it's a gift. And she was buying it for a kid. So you have a parent that's literally participating in contaminating this next generation.
Yes.
And I look at it because you have a lot of urban kids, especially mentioning Clementine, and me growing up from not too far from that area. I'm looking at, really these parents that are not too far, much older than their kids.
Right.
And they're doing the same thing. They're going to tattoo parlors with their kids, getting matching tattoos. And you see all of this stuff going on because you really have a breakdown in what our kids are seeing, the images that are going
children raising children.
Exactly. And so that's what's happening. You have all these drugs that are on the street that are readily available, but you have to stop and start looking at, again, leadership. We have all of these technological things that are in place. We have satellites that can actually track down Saddam Hussein. Mm-hmm. And you're looking at, you can find Saddam Hussein like looking for a needle in a haystack, but you can't pinpoint who's dealing drugs and what's going on in these communities and really get these people and hold them accountable and lock them up.
It's it's called the Heal the Hood Foundation. Liddell Beamon is our guest. He's the CEO of this. And whose fault is that? This police force doesn't even have cameras in their cars, and some haven't got GPS. Plus, you have a department now that is facing incredible challenges with this pension issue and all this other stuff and their health insurance. So you wonder about their attitudes and if they're supportive of causes like this one, or if they turn the other cheek. It seems like that the odds are stacked against you. How young do you try to get into? What ages are you targeting to try to get their attention now, before somebody buys them Grand Theft Auto?
We're in elementary schools. For the simple fact, we're in elementary schools all the way to colleges, and we're starting very, very young. Because literally what's happening now, I look at, I'm in the process, we have a book that we've been writing for the last few years, and there's a chapter in there that says, oh my God, my son is my boyfriend. Because now you look at parents that are literally not training their children up to become the men that they should be, but they're literally training their children up to become a likeness of where they are right now, and they haven't grown up. And it goes right back to dealing with parenthood and childhood. You have parents that are still children. They're adult size, adult age, but their mentalities are like children. So how can a child train another child to become an adult? And that's what's happening.
And you get into the area too about sex education and birth control, and the peer pressure involved and the bullying involved in these young girls that have got no more business even thinking about sex and probably can't even spell the damn word, but they are engaging in this, and it's odd that the results become a baby, and then three, and that's one of the biggest issues, is the education of how this whole thing works.
It's major. You look at, we had, and there's a lot of, and that's the reason why when we say media science, how deep this really, really runs. You look at Hannah Montana. If you didn't know anything about twerking, Hannah Montana became Miley Cyrus, and she taught a nation of people about twerking that probably didn't even know, and it was going on in the urban communities for so long, and they were doing it in the rap videos, and all this stuff was going on. But at the same time, we have kids that when we go into schools and they're hearing music, these are elementary kids. They automatically in kindergarten start twerking and start doing all this lewd behavior. They're cursing. They're bringing weapons. You would be surprised at how many elementary schools we've gone to where the guidance counselors have taken weapons off students, and they've taken, and these have been young kids that are kindergarten age kids. One of our hardest things that we ever saw was a 9-year-old that committed suicide at an elementary school that we were working in. And that this was a small kid, he had been bullied, a lot of stuff was going on, but at 9 years old, for a community to go out and see a kid hanging from his neck in a tree, and that's literally a couple of miles from where I stay. I still stay in the inner city right now, and I think that's one of our biggest problems, because there's such a huge social disconnect for many of us who never experienced what a lot of these kids going through. We look at it and we pass by, but sometimes that when you're right there in the element, it's easier for you to kind of see what's going on and have a heart for the problem and get in there and deal with the issues. And that's what our problem is in our city. We have too many people that are so disconnected from the problem, and we see it and we shake our heads and say this is a shame. But at the same time, when you're a person like me that's lost 18 or 19 kids that have been murdered out here, it becomes a different ball game.
It's a very tangible, touchable thing when it happens like that. It is a remarkable thing to hear. It just makes you, I don't know.
Is it a lack of priorities being straight? I mean, for one thing, why do all of these kids that are running around the parking lot at Poplar and Highland on a Saturday night have cell phones, have social media pages that, you know, they're more interested in videotaping a fight and putting it on Facebook and being the first person to do it than calling the cops and maybe saving somebody's life?
These kids have been, they've been failed. I'm just going to say it real simple. They've been failed by their parents. They've been failed by
the schools, the system in general.
Exactly, because if I'm world star hip hop, these kids, especially if you have low self-esteem and you're thinking about quote unquote being the man or singing a certain way, you take these cell phones or these devices and it becomes very destructive. Something as simple as a device that can call 911 can become a weapon and can become very dangerous in the hands of people that just don't have morals. So if I know that world star hip hop is going to give me 5 million views for putting up something damaging, that's what these kids are after. They're looking at becoming that social figure, that hero, just like some of their rap heroes. And I still have a problem with Memphis, you know, giving somebody like what's the guy, Rick Ross, a key to the city. And you had a song talking about putting mollies in people's drinks and date rape and all this. I'm like, okay, wait a second.
Yeah, I didn't understand that at all. And I think that when the Memphis Tigers, when their new AD, Tom Beamon, came into town, one of the first things he did with that Memphis Madness thing was eliminate that element from it, because they had cultivated a culture over there of this hip-hop attitude, which is not to say that there are not good things about that, but it tends to lean in a negative fashion with a certain kind of image attached to it, with language and sex and drugs and all these things that we don't need 9-year-old kids seeing.
Exactly.
And so if we can get... Yeah, and he was not the guy to be made into a hero, and that's part of the problem.
Exactly. A lot of these media influence, these celebrities, one thing that I hear a lot of them saying is that they're not a role model for anyone. And so I think that when I'm kind of like, I'm old fashioned. I love the Spider-Man saying, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
And when you're given all of this stuff and you're given this platform, you have to be really, really careful with that platform. Even me, the things that I do, I have to really monitor that. And it's not difficult for me because when I go into a store, I'm looking at kids and their parents that see me in a Walmart that just saw me in their school. So I can't participate in certain behaviors and do certain things because I know that someone is watching, and I've been given a privileged responsibility. Even when you guys allow me to come on the radio, I'm honored, but it's a privilege for me to be able to say what I'm saying and the listeners to hear what I'm saying, because I feel like it's valuable for what I have to say, but I also have to be responsible for what I'm saying.
Exactly. It's the Heal the Hood Foundation. Dell Beamon is our guest. He's the CEO of this group that is trying to get to these kids early on and spread the word and create peace and love and harmony in a place that is sorely lacking in all of the above. Tell us about, I don't know much about this premiere of this film called The Mix-Up. Tell us about this.
Yeah, like I said, we use media science to really get our message across. The Mix-Up is happening September the 11th. this Thursday at the Malcolm Majestic, and it's a huge red carpet experience because what we do with kids, a lot of these young people that are gifted actors, rappers, singers, dancers, whatever their crafts are, we like to take that and mold it and take it into a different direction. So we're teaching them how to be responsible with their gifts. But rape on college campuses has been a huge issue that's come up. It's even gotten all the way to the Obama administration and what President Obama is doing from a national perspective. We're doing it here with filming. We filmed a huge project that we're going to take all around the nation, and it premieres, and it's about date rape. It's really about this domestic violence piece and about the mindset of young people and what they're going through and what they're faced with on college campuses.
And was it shot all over the country or just around here?
It was shot here in Memphis. We shot on Christian Brothers campus, Urban Child Institute, all around the city of Memphis, and we showed a lot of great sides of Memphis, but at the same time, this is a Memphis project. It's no curse, and the whole family can come out and really experience it, but for the most part, the message is so powerful that we're going to tour the nation with it, and I even love it that there are young people that are the majority cast in this project, and they feel really to something they're contributing.
Wonderful. Who helps you fund all this stuff, or do you even? I mean, talk is easy, and going to schools doesn't cost much, but I'm sure it takes some kind of funding to operate this foundation.
When we're in the school system, there's a lot of us working the GRASSy program. The gang reduction is one of the programs that literally helps us fund us being in the school. But outside of the school, we just rely on our own personal funds to do what we have to do, because that's one thing that I feel like Memphis, this hurting our city, the trust factor. So when people give a lot of groups, urban groups, a lot of money, and you still keep seeing all this crime and violence happen, you're reluctant to give.
Right.
And so what we do is that we believe in leading by example. So we give into our own projects, we get our families, and we all get together and we pool our resources together and we make something happen. Because when people see you invested, they'll start investing in what you do as well.
Do you get support from the powers that be in this city?
Walmart right now is one of our leading people that gives us the community store grants, and just GRASSy. But outside of that, we have one local church. It's One Accord Ministries that Terrell Munger that actually helps, and he seeds into what we're doing. But we really need a lot of funding to do what we have to do. But at the same time, we're willing to do whatever we have to do to make it happen.
So do the mayors and the police chiefs and those people, are they supportive of you publicly, or do they even know that you exist?
Yeah, they know that we exist, and we're out here. We're at their meetings and what's going on. And we're the Memphis Gun Down program. We've done some work literally with them when they come out to some of the events and set up booths and things of that nature. But once again, we're, regardless to what assistance we get or not, we got to do what we have to do. And I think there are a lot of people that are millionaires or people that are listening even to the show that would love to invest in what you're doing. But I think the thing is, they have to see that it's a trustworthy cause, that they can see that they're putting resources into something that is not going to become like a lot of these other entities where you have so many people that are messing around with funds and no results.
Right. Boy, it's
nice to have. It's fun to have somebody in here just telling the truth.
Yep.
Because we've already had several emails about, what can I do to help this guy out?
Well, the website is hthmemphis.org. Heal the Hood. Dell Beamon, it is a pleasure to see you again, and I applaud you for what you're doing, and I wish there were more folks out there like you, man.
Thank you, and God bless you guys, too.
Thank you, and to you, sir. And any help you need from us ever, you let me know, and we can sit here and talk.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. We'll be back in a minute.